Hey everybody, Tekking101 here, and for this Bankai discussion video, we're time traveling back to the 90s with some Surge. Yeah, man. Apparently this was re-released in the US like last September, but I just found out about it now. I haven't had a can of this shit since like, I don't know, 1998. Damn, that's good. If you can get your hands on some Surge, I would greatly... Even if you weren't in the 90s, it's okay. You can still have it, but this was a drink of a decade, my man. So anyway, let's get on with it. Now, I was going to do this video on Unohana. Damn, you sexy girl. I was going to do this video a little bit later. I was holding off on it. Because unlike the other Bankais I've discussed, you know, Toshiros and Kenpachis and Unoharas, they were recently shown in the manga. Unohana's Bankai was shown relatively more closer to the beginning of this arc in Chapter 526. So, you know, I felt like maybe we might get something with it, perhaps maybe like a flashback arc to 1,000 years ago during the first Vandenreich invasion where Unohana was a member of the original Gotei 13. Maybe we would get something like that. Probably not, though, considering the, you know, series is nearing the end, so I can't take that risk at this point. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But hey, the way I look at it is, if we don't get anything, then I have to make this video because, well, I have to make this video. But if we do get something, and I have to make this video even more to discuss the thing that we found out. I still don't think it's going to happen, but I had to try it anyway. Alright, so Unohana's Bankai, let me tell you, it's been something that's been a spark of a lot of debate. Some people are in the camp of Kubo didn't tell us what it does. He didn't expressly come out and say what it does. We still don't know what it does. And then other people are in the camp of, yes, he clearly showed what it does. You're just not paying attention. Allow me to explain. So, Retsu Unohana, or Yachiru Unohana as she was originally known, was the first Kenpachi. And she was a member of the original Gotei 13, along with, you know, Yamamoto, back when they were basically just like a roving gang of bandits, essentially. And, you know, so she was kind of like a bloodthirsty monster back then, kind of the same way as Kenpachi, just with a little bit more intelligence. In fact, a lot more intelligence. And eventually, I think she decided... We don't really know 100% why she decided to do this. I don't know if it was expressly said it was because of her fight with Kenpachi that she decided to hang up her sword and stop the bloodshed and learn Kaido, which is healing Kido, and follow the path of a healer rather than of just a bloodthirsty, you know, fucking cutthroat. We don't really know if that's the reason she did, but, you know, I guess that's as good as reason as any. So for most of the Soul Society's history, for most of, like, the 1,000 years, you know, she was the captain of the 4th Division, and even though she was the captain of the division that did no fighting, everyone was still scared shitless of her because her reputation kind of spread far and wide. It wasn't even just because of her reputation, because even Ichigo had no fucking idea who she really was, and just the same way as everyone else, when Unohana looked at Ichigo in the Garganta, like, Ichigo, let me make the path, I'll be okay, and then Ichigo's just like, oh, shit, okay. So it's not even her, it's like she can emanate the presence, like, I could totally kill you so many. I could kill you 30 times before you hit the ground, quite literally, so let me please run in front of you. But eventually, her services were required whenever, after the first Vandenreich invasion happened, and Kenpachi got his, you know, summarily got his ass beat by Yuha, or possibly Royd. I like to think Yuha, just to save Kenpachi a little bit of face there. And her services were called upon by Shunsui to fight against Kenpachi in an epic, bloody brawl to end all brawls that would have ended with one of them most certainly dying, but it would serve a purpose for teaching Kenpachi the art of killing, for truly grasping his ultimate power, which eventually came out in the form of learning his Zanpaktou's true name, Nozarashi. And I did the last Bankai video I discussed was Kenpachi's. That's actually good that I'm doing this. So, in this fight, Unohana, near the end of the fight, most of the fight is just an all-balls-out sword slam. Just, you know, cuts and slices, blood everywhere. And Unohana, actually, it's funny, she kills Kenpachi like a dozen times in this fight, and then just uses Kaido to bring him back. And that's one of the reasons she learned it, is, you know, to continue fighting. And she has some other tricks, too. She keeps, like, blades hidden in her kimono and shit. So, near the end of the fight, and like actually in the same chapter that Kenpachi deals the death blow to her, she reveals her Bankai, which is MInazuki. Now, it's important to note that MInazuki is also the name of her Shikai, or the name of her zanpaktou in general. The name of her zanpaktou does not change when she goes into Bankai. Most Bankais get added on to, like Tensa Zangetsu, Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi, or they add all new words together. What was one that didn't have the Bankai name at all? I'm trying to didn't have the Shikai name included at all. I'm trying to think of one of them. I know there was a few where it's like they didn't include the Bankai name at all. Okay, Yamamoto's didn't. Yeah. Ryujin Jaka did not appear in his Zanpaktou's Bankai, Zanko no Tachi. Yes, there's a few that are like that. Anyway, MInazuki, in its Shikai form... What the hell's up with this? It's like glitching out on me here. I don't know, whatever. In its Shikai form, the translation comes out to, I think, Flesh Drops Gourd, or something along those lines, like Purify the Flesh. Something along those lines that hints at healing. Which makes sense considering that the Shikai's ability turns it into like a giant flying manta ray cyclops looking thing that eats people and then heals them in its stomach and then spits them back out. And it's a pretty weird Shikai, I know, but that's basically what it does. And then the Bankai, we don't know what the Bankai does, but we do know that it stands for All Things End. That's the way that it's put out. So, All Things End is the Bankai's name, so it probably has to deal with killing people, I would assume. So maybe that's the theme of her sword, of her Zanpaktou MInazuki. It has sort of like a life, death, healing, killing sign of duality to it. Maybe those are the things that connect it together. So that's the way that goes. And when she goes into Bankai, we don't get to see a lot of it. Really, this is the most we get from her Bankai. There's a cover page after this where we see her in it, but that's pretty much all we get. Because she, like I said, she dies like the same chapter. She dies in the chapter right after this, but she gets the death blow in the same chapter, so we don't get much of it. Her Bankai, what it does is that it emits a viscous red liquid all around her. It's probably blood. It doesn't come out and directly say it's blood, but it's probably blood. The substance changes her sword from steel to it, and it solidifies. It's still like a solid blade, as we can see in the cover page, and it makes the sword change as well, and it's just oozing this, but the blood also kind of appears behind her, like all around where she is. This substance just bubbles up out of nowhere. So, what is this shit? What does it do? Like, is it blood? Is it acid? Is it something else? Like, what the fuck is it? What does it do? What happens when you get it on you? Like, when she cuts somebody with the sword, is it just as strong as a regular sword? Does it cut? Or does it, like, just splatter this shit all over you, like Ichibei's ink? Like, what the fuck does it do? Like, that's all we get. Because as soon as she goes into this, Kenpachi and her clash a little bit more, and then Kenpachi just stabs her right through the fucking chest with Nozarashi, and she, I think the throat, and she dies. And that's all we got. That's all, folks. Unohana's dead. Now, the way I interpreted this as soon as first reading it was, of course, we didn't get to know what it was, because it's like, what the fuck? But sooner or later, somebody came up with the idea that actually we did find out with it, and in the same chapter, we get a scene, and it'll probably show up in a little bit. I just clicked on it, but I don't know what's up with the freaking XSplits acting buggy as hell today. But right after she goes into her Bankai, and right after her and Kenpachi are clashing, you have this scene where Kenpachi and Unohana's flesh begins to literally melt off their body. Not just their flesh, their muscle, their eyes dissolve out of their sockets, and they're literally just reduced to skeletons wearing their captain's cloaks, their Shihakshos. And I took this to mean it's like a symbolic thing, because the whole point of this fight, the whole overarching theme of this fight, was that Kenpachi kept there it is. He lost his like original potential when he first fought Unohana because he restricted himself. He was about to kill Unohana when he was a child, but he didn't want her to die because it was like the closest person to an actual fight he had. And so he placed these mental handcuffs on him. And it's through this fight, every time he died and got brought back to life by Unohana, those handcuffs began to loosen and he began to break through each barrier and become more of his initial primal self. And so that's what I took this scene to make. It's not supposed to be taken literally. It's symbolic. It's Kenpachi's flesh and is melting off, and he's death itself. He's the fucking Grim Reaper, just like of lore and legend, just skeleton, and just brings nothing but death in his wake. And as soon as he appears in this form, he then gets to see Unohana for who she really is. The same way, nothing but skeleton. That's all they are. They're just embodiments of death, and all they can do is just kill and kill and kill. I need to drink some Surge because I'm going to cough. Oh, man. But some people came out and said, no, that's what her Bankai does, dude. It's like acid. It like melts your fucking body off. And the only reason that they were fine at the end of that fight was because Unohana healed them. You know, she just said that, you know, I can heal using Kaido, and then she went into Bankai, and then they had the skeleton shit, and then after that, they're both back to the way they were, and then Kenpachi stabs her. So it's like, dude, she just said she can heal any wounds, so they, you know, acid shit turns them into skeletons, and then she heals them. Now, I have a few problems with this. Few things. Number one, do you seriously think Unohana has the skills to pay the bills where fucking acid could literally sear off your entire body to nothing but fucking skeleton, and then she could use Kaido to heal it? Now, she could do some pretty crazy shit with Kaido, don't get me wrong. Like, Kenpachi cut off her fucking fingers, and in a few fucking seconds, they were already bubbling back to existence using her healing Kaido. So she's talented with this shit, no fucking bones about it, but this is something else altogether. This is like digging a fucking corpse out of the ground and then fucking putting flesh back on that shit. Like some Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, you know, stuff going on. You're like, no, I don't know if she could do that. Few other things about this that doesn't just grok with me by the fact that it's acid. They still have hair. They're still wearing their clothes. So if whatever it is, if you want to say it's acid, it's a very specific acid that only sears away the flesh of the living, like organic substances. Not flesh or hair. But wait, Kenpachi loses his hair, but Unohana doesn't lose her hair. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure this is just supposed to be taken, you know, metaphorically. It's not supposed to be literal, like their actual body is being melted off. But if that's not what her Bankai is, then why did she use it? Why did she go into Bankai? Because it's literally just like Bankai, and then Clash, and then dead. That's all it is. She doesn't use any techniques with it or anything. So, oh, man. Part of it seems just like Kubo's sitting there writing the fight out, and he's like, oh, shit. I wrote in Unohana's gonna die, but I haven't had her use her Bankai yet. Alright, fuck it. I'll just throw it in there. She's not going to do anything with it, but I'll show you what it looks like. I mean, yeah. At least I showed you it. There you go. You can't bitch at me now. I'm like, I don't know. Because, yeah. Now, if it was blood-based, that would be pretty metal. That would be the first blood-based zanpaktou that we've ever seen. It might actually be because of her Bankai, maybe, that she was able to heal so damn well, maybe? I don't know, because once again, it's like, she once explained how healing Kaido worked. It's like, you gotta heal the physical injuries first, and then the wellspring of your, because the Ryatsu, it's contained in your body. So if your body's beaten to shit, your Ryatsu's gonna suffer. So if you heal the body first, and then, you know, healing the Ryatsu is much easier. You know, so, you know, the two are connected. So, I don't know. I don't know. But I guess since we don't really know much more about it, I'm just going to get to the section where I ask you guys what the hell's up with it. What do you think what she can do with it? I mean, I'm perfectly fine with it being a blood-based sword, but what could you do with it? That's what I'm saying. If it's truly acid and you still think that that scene is supposed to be taken literally, why do they still have clothes? Why does Kenpachi lose his hair and why doesn't Unohana? Why do they appear perfectly fine in the next scene? Why? Okay, I think elephant in the room here. How the fuck can they still move if they're skeletons? Like they're Shinigami, but you know, they still have anatomies that are very similar to humans. If they get, you know, punched or cut in the stomach, they're still bleeding and they can still die. So they still need fucking muscle tissue to move around. Yeah, man. I didn't realize until now just how little we fucking know about this. I really don't. I got to this point, I was like, okay, I'm going to discuss the thing with the skeletons. I'm going to discuss the naming scheme of her zanpaktou. Let's talk about that, I guess, a little bit more. Okay, all things end is the literal interpretation of her zanpaktou's Bankai. So, all things end. Could it possibly... Now, remember, Unohana wanted Kenpachi to kill her. Okay, she wanted to die there, to pass the torch. But maybe, if it was against, like, a traditional opponent, maybe this is the kind of thing that's sort of like a one-hit kill. Or it's like, you see fucking Unohana's Bankai, you don't fight, you're not walking home tonight, buddy, you're fucking done. Maybe it's something like that. Yeah. Man, you know what sucks? We're not going to get more about this. We're really not. So, I mean, I don't really have much more to add here. You might think this is kind of a short-ass video, but we're not going to get much more with this. I highly doubt it. We're not going to get a flashback arc now. Series is ending pretty soon. So, this is your last chance, motherfuckers, is what I'm saying. I mean, we might get a data book or something where don't push your luck. This could seriously be the fucking it. So, if you have an idea about what Unohana's Bankai is, you know, comment section, motherfucker, that's all you got. Ah, man, I'm so hopped up on Surge right now. I have all this energy, but I don't know where to go from this. I don't know. Maybe, like, oh, okay, I'll talk about something else, an interesting thing about her zanpaktou, anyway. Her Shikai is, like, the weirdest freaking Shikai, or one of the weirdest, because it actually summons a living creature. Now, we've seen zanpaktous have living creatures before, like Unohara's and Mayuri's. They both had living creatures. And actually, funny story, those both dealt with, like, scientisty sort of characters, you know? Like, Mayuri's living creature was, like, very, you know, could spew poisons and shit, and inflict disease, and Unohara's could, like, dissect people. So maybe, going along with the idea that her Shikai is a living organism, and that her Bankai is possibly blood, maybe it's something along that line, like it deals with the body, you know? Maybe she can control the blood in a human being. I know we're kind of going into Avatar bloodbending shit here, but... you know, it's worth an option. I'm just saying. The only 3 zanpaktou I think that have living creatures are, I don't know if you would, I don't know, would you consider Komamura as a living creature? I don't know, because it doesn't move independently of him. It's connected physically to Komamura, so whatever he moves, it moves too. You know, so I don't know if you would want to consider that an independent organic organism. You know, because it's like, it copies his every movement. Like, Konjiki Ashisoki Jizo obeys Mayuri, but it's still its own sort of, like, organism, and it has, like, you know, an internal organs and shit. I don't know if Komamura's works the same way. Yeah, but I think it's just, if we're disregarding Komamura, I think it's just Mayuri, Unohara, and Unohana that have the organic Bankais. I'm pretty sure on that. I'm trying to go through all of them right now because I know if I'm wrong, someone's going to be like, I can't believe you forgot about this guy's Bankai Tekking. Very clearly a living creature. But I don't think there's another one. I'm not thinking of one. Yeah, unless it turns out like Aizen had one all along or something. But anyway, that's the video. Got really nothing else to say here. So comment below on what you think her Bankai can do. You know, theories about what her, you know, the overarching theme of her Bankai is. Maybe it's like a life and death thing, or what, you know, the substance is. Talk about the scene with the skeletons and what that's all about. You know, just go crazy, because it's probably the last chance we're going to get. Alright, well, I'm going to go back to my Surge. Thanks for watching, I guess. This will be Tekking101 signing out. Damn, XSplit ain't even going to let me end the fucking recording. Oh, that's lovely. Isn't that lovely? Hold on a sec. All right. Later, guys!